Updates from the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, followed by the Permanent Secretary, Aviation, on behalf of the Minister of Aviation.
The Chairman of the PTF, members of the PTF, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Yesterday, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development flagged off our biggest COVID-19 intervention under the modified school feeding program in Kuje, here in Abuja. It had a huge turnout, and many beneficiaries left happy and grateful for the intervention, especially at such a difficult time with the pandemic posing health, economic, and humanitarian challenges. I was joined by Paul Haw, Country Director of the World Food Programme here in Nigeria. The WFP is providing technical support because defeating hunger is not just part of their mandate, it also aligns with SDG 2, which is focused on achieving zero hunger by 2030. Now, let me take a few moments to address the massive misrepresentation and misunderstanding around the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, which the ministry was directed to resume via a presidential directive of March 29, 2020. For clarity, the program, which is funded by the federal government of Nigeria, is implemented by the state governments and facilitated by the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. And this program, as modified, is targeted at heads of the households, guardians, and caregivers of these children, the primary school pupils 1 to 3. And also, we are not spending 679 million per day, as alluded to. That number is inaccurate. The take-home rations are worth 4,200 naira per household and are planned as a monthly COVID-19 intervention for 3,131,971 households in the participating states of the Federation. When the federal government ordered the closure of schools across the country in order to help flatten the COVID-19, it interrupted the school feeding program, which is one of our cardinal projects as a government and which preceded the COVID-19 outbreak. Because the program was already ongoing, food vendors had already been contracted and mobilized for the project. We are also mindful of the fact that most vendors, having been mobilized and made purchases preparatory to the project execution, it's just not possible to ask them for a refund. And this had been done before the school calendar was disrupted. In light of this, as I mentioned, demanding a refund will be cumbersome and unrealistic. So the ministry went into consultation with the Nigerian Governors Forum, in line with the directive of Mr. President, to work out modalities on how to continue with the program despite that the schools are closed, and especially because of the exciting challenges posed by this COVID-19. That is how we arrived at the modified school feeding program of taking dry food rations to the households of these children. So how we got our data with children at home was another issue. When children enroll in schools, as part of the registration processes, a detailed register which contains the address of parents and guardians of every pupil is kept with the schools, as well as the class teachers. We also obtain those from SUBEB and other sources. More so, in the minute communities where these children live, every child's home can be easily identified by members of that community and the management of these schools. So to ensure full transparency so that the program is not compromised, we are submitting a full list of all the vendors to the EFCC. And let me also state here that these vendors have been in the structure since 2016. So we are using existing structure. It's not a whole new program that we're enrolling, no. It's the vendors that have been in the program that we're using because they are used to providing these food materials to the cooks to cook. We have also invited other agencies of government, including the DSS, EFCC, ICPC, Code of Conduct, and a host of NGOs and CSOs to help us monitor. I'm sure you agree with me. Yesterday, you must have noticed a large number of people participating in the process or in the flag off, because we engage as many stakeholders as possible to be part of that, being very mindful of the social distance guideline. I have gone into some lines in order to disapprove the misinformation and misunderstandings around the modified program and to ask Nigerians to support this proactive intervention designed to keep our children fed during this pandemic, so that the objective of this national homegrown school feeding program is not compromised, i.e., having children being fed with nutritious food, as well as boosting the local economy of these communities. We are working with agro-farmers. We are working with poultry associations that have to, at this point in time, get their products bought, especially when you talk about the eggs that we provide to these children. So we are boosting the local economy. This week, the ministry participated in the United States Institute of Peace event, focusing on exploring opportunities for state governments and citizen partnerships in Nigeria's response to COVID-19, alongside Their Excellencies Dr. Fayemi Kayode and Samuel Lalong of Plateau State. We had fruitful deliberations on how to better navigate this monumental and global crisis and evolve strategic humanitarian interventions with maximum impact. I also attended the inaugural board meeting of the COVID-19 Basket Fund of the UN, designed to serve as the one COVID-19 financing and investment platform through which different stakeholders, including UN, other multilateral and bilateral donors, as well as private sector donors, foundations, and philanthropists can channel their financial contributions to the multi-sectoral efforts of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 response. As we're all aware that what had started as a health emergency is also now a humanitarian crisis. And areas of intervention include socio-economic interventions around vulnerable groups, particularly on the efforts of the cash transfers or food distribution to vulnerable groups. The government of Nigeria launched the One UN COVID, as we may recall, on 6th of April. So, ladies and gentlemen, the ministry continues to liaise with partners locally and internationally to identify new strategies for intervening and making positive impact during this pandemic, especially to our poor and vulnerable populations. Thank you very much.